Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry
Yes.
weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running, 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada, and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the...
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? It is Thursday. Can you believe it is Thursday? I mean, I was looking at the count. I'm like, this is going too fast. Stop the madness. Stop the madness. And then when you think about it, we're half into the year. We're kind of half into the year. And then, you know how people, when it gets to this point, the first thing people kind of say, especially in business and everything, like, oh my God, I put it, what was my goals? I was supposed to finish this and this. They start going to that list back in January or December when you ever started. And then they're like, oh no, I didn't get nothing done. And then they start freaking out and everything. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a pause. And one of my wonderful special guests today, she's good at this, Miss Barbara. Mrs. B, the BBs are going to come today. And she's always talking about, just, extract this, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, and then you'll be okay. Because I always tell people, you're getting done what you need to get done. You're getting done what you need to get done, because if you start putting that pressure on you, because you're looking at time, you're looking at the calendar, you're looking at how many days and everything, I always tell myself, you know what, I was supposed to get done what I was supposed to get done at this point in time. So I'm just going to go on the ride for the rest of the months, and do what I need to do. And it's gonna either way, it's gonna benefit you when you think about it. If you're going through a growing pain, you're learning from it. If you're getting something that's exciting in your life, then that's good. That's a big surprise for you. If you're, taking longer than you're supposed to, then maybe that's the process that you need to go through. So there's always a light at the end of every tunnel when you're thinking about something that's kind of maybe in a negative. You got to flip it, as I could keep saying, flip it. So with that, I always have to do my little motivationals before we bring our wonderful guest out. We have an awesome, awesome show today. So let's talk about love, shall we? Let's talk about love. Talk about love. Pure love is genuine and does not contain ifs or buts. It's simply love. Pure love requires nothing in return. True love is felt needing to receive nothing and wanting nothing from another. Pure love is when simply love with no motives. I think you're getting the point here about how love's supposed to go, right? No judgments, no assumptions of what to be. People who require another to do certain things can say certain things and become a certain type of person. And guess what that type of person is? A manipulator. Eh, That is not love, it is control. True love is unconditional, requiring no ifs or buts. Today, become loving, requiring nothing in return. So, you know what? I'm going to put everything out there and tell everybody, you know what? Just love because. Just love because I keep telling everybody this world needs healing. There's a lot of things that have been going on since last year and beyond. I mean, we had a pandemic and we're slowly, slowly getting out of that. And then, with the whole, the political thing and then, the racist thing, it's a whole bunch of all this kind of crazy stuff that I just like, ugh. So the love needs to come back. We all love each other equally and don't look for any expectations. Just love. Because I'm telling you, the universe will come right smack in your face and give you whatever you need when you show love to others. So you know what? I think this is a good way in to, let's see, let's start Joe. I love that music of the intro, boy. I might have to change it up a little bit. That intro's been going for like 6 months now, so I might just need to change just to tweak it. But with that, I'm just really like a little kid in the candy store right now because I have a queen, queen, queen coming right now, a queen diamond. She just came in my life, and we have been connected. And I always tell people really, really treasure the ones that come in and then all of a sudden you have that instant, just that instant like bond. Like, wow, I feel like I've been knowing you forever and we gotta do some things and we have to, collaborate and let's become friends. Like when you're a little small, I want to be your friend. But this woman, she has been such an inspiration in my life. What she does, she just keeps going. You talking about the Energized Bunny? She's better than the Energized Bunny. Better. You are going to notice. I mean, Barbara Ellis, she is just my all. And I asked her, I said, Barbara, you know what? You haven't been on my show. I mean, it's funny because we do a show together. We do a show together on Tuesdays, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I was like, wait a minute. I mean, I had the show for 6 months, and you mean to tell me I didn't bring my partner along to come on the show? But, I asked her this week. I know it was last minute. She looked at her schedule because, she's a busy woman now. So the celebrities, they got to check their schedules. And she's like, let me check. Yeah, I think I can fit you in, Barbara. So she fit me in. And I'm so glad. But I always got to introduce my special guest the right way. So we're gonna have this little video, and then she's gonna come on, and we're gonna have some just conversation, just conversation. Get to know this wonderful lady. Here she comes. Hey,
Well, I mean, I have to say, Barb, it's been so long since I've seen you. Has it been 12 hours?
I know. It's like this is the most time that we've seen each other in a long time, for a
We
whole week, right? In a week
You
time.
realize we have seen each other Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I know you like, okay, Barbara, I like you, but okay, I know
I
you're probably saying,
know.
but we got to end this for this
No,
week.
we're the BBs. And you know what? And this is such fun. And thank you for having me. It's just because how we do things. And you're right. I loved your intro. We have known each other for a couple of years. And we kept saying for so long, oh, let's do something together. Oh, let's do something together. Oh yeah, we really, really should do it together. And don't you have that sometimes with people, and it never
Mhm.
materializes? But then
Yeah.
you know what? Last year, oh,
Mhm.
it did. And look at how far we've come in a year.
I
We've been
know.
doing our Time to Shine happiness show for a year. It was this week. For a year we've been doing it. Wow.
You gotta do a little
And
dance.
yeah, and it has been absolutely an amazing year.
Yeah. Yes, it
An
has.
amazing year. And I loved your thing on love because it's absolutely the truth. And you know what? One of the things that came to my mind as you were reading it, especially women, we tend to put that out to the people around us.
Hmm.
Ladies, I also want you to take it in.
Yeah.
Love is about loving you. And Barb has heard me say this so many times. Quit beating yourself up for the things that you are not. Celebrate the things that you are.
Mhm.
You are a God-given, talented, beautiful woman. Celebrate that, even if you don't feel like it right now. Because there are days that you will wake up, and I wake up, that, oh, do I have to get up? You know, um,
Yeah,
and
just
I,
lay
I
here.
love, I love this. Can't I just lay here and just be here forever? Um, One time there's a little, and it's like a little ditty type story. And I saw it, I think it has a GIF. It was a GIF. It was like, Lord, I have been so good. I have not slandered. I have not taken your name in vain. I have not been unkind. I have not been, not said anything untoward. I have not gossiped. I have not done a whole list of things. And then the punchline is, but now I have to get out of bed, so I need your help to not do it.
You be coming with some good jokes. I'm
You
loving
know?
it.
And that just summed up so often my day. Okay, all the things that you don't, and then, okay, Laura, but now I have to get up, so you have to help me to not do it. Or to be, and one of the things that I loved what you said in your intro was about taking action. Take inspired action and take that time to be that quietness. And what
Mhm.
inspired action do you want me to take today?
I love that. Yes.
What
Yes. See,
inspired action?
I just gotta put a little pin on that. I just want to tell everybody this is why this woman is so inspirational to me. Just want to put that out there. Just throwing that out there real quick. And you are, Barbara. But yeah, see, because I was just thinking today, Barbara, where we make those goals. We make,
Right?
every year
Exactly.
we start off the year, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, I want to do this, this, this. I want to get it done.
Oh,
This.
yeah.
It seems like we automatically start putting the pressure already. It's like, okay, we're
Exactly.
starting the year putting pressure on, and then when it
Exactly.
doesn't get done, it's like that, like you said, Barbara, we start beating ourselves up.
We start beating ourselves up for all the things that we haven't done. And
Hmm.
I think we did a show on this, what, a couple of weeks ago, the first week of June.
I
Just
believe.
because this is halfway through the year, and people are feeling the pressure
Yeah, yeah.
and how we deal with that pressure. And some people deal with it that they push harder, they push harder, they push harder, and then they get confused about what they're doing. Well, you know what? A confused mind does nothing.
Oh, that's good. That is good. You're so
When
right.
you get when you get confused, and then you'll be down a rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden now it's October and you're really down the rabbit hole, you're off track, you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, and it was all because of the pressure that you put on yourself at the beginning.
All
Take
because.
that time to breathe, to
See, there we
just,
go.
oh, that's right. It's my favorite
They
thing.
would.
Take, take the time to breathe. It's a 3-step process. Stop. I love, what's his name? He was the show, that he was the psychologist, Bob Newhart, where
Bob
he
knew.
does
Oh
that,
yeah,
where he does that. Just stop it.
yeah.
Just stop.
Sometimes
Stop.
it just takes somebody saying that to you.
Yeah. And you have to, and sometimes it's like, Barbara, I have to say it to myself.
Yeah,
Barbara,
me
just
too.
stop.
Yeah,
Just stop. But then
yeah.
sit down and take the time to sit, breathe, come just to stop, to breathe, and take, even if you only take 5 minutes, I like to try to take at least 20 to 30 minutes to just sit with what you're feeling. Sit with it. What are you feeling? Are you scared? Are you frustrated? But what is underneath that frustration? What's underneath it? And that's the biggest thing. What's underneath it? And I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, I came off the phone with my virtual assistant, and she was because I'm having an event at the end of the month, and she was telling me about all the things that she's doing. I came off the phone in an absolute panic.
So
How
you're
can
like,
I possibly how can I possibly do all of those things? And I was feeling, and I could feel myself getting more and more just
mm-hmm.
worked up. And then it was like, okay, Barbara, take your own advice. Take your own advice. Stop. Sit back. Listen. Sit back. Breathe. Okay. And maybe you start out by you're panting kind of, but then you have to stop and just slowly slow down and breathe. Okay, what is underneath this feeling of panic? And you
Mm-hmm.
know what it was? It was the little girl in me that, what if nobody comes?
Oh, see, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it was that little girl that was like feeling insecure and, gee, am
Mm-hmm.
I am I worthy? Am I good enough to think that I could do a 3-day event? And all of those feelings that come up, because, and the thing is, though, and Barb, you've said this yourself, those
Mm-hmm.
feelings start when we're 7 and 8.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something happened when we were 7 or 8 or 9, and we have those feelings. Well, you know what? If we never address them, they come back to bite you later
Yeah.
on.
Like,
So as I was addressing that little girl, and you know what? Comfort her.
yeah.
just put your arm, you'll visualize yourself putting your arm, or even just do this and you're visually hugging yourself and be in touch with that little girl that is feeling scared or lonely or whatever it is, whatever feeling comes up.
Yeah.
But then wait. And the answer will come to you that, wow, you're beautiful. You are talented. You are worthy. You are a creative person. That, wow, you're special. Whatever those words, and then you will know what inspired action that you need to take. And what was stopping me was I had to write a description of my course. And I had been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. I came out of that moment of comforting the little girl in me. And it took me, I think, maybe 5 minutes to write the description, sent it off to my VA, and it's like, wow. And later on, went on to write all my emails to go with the event that I'm having.
Awesome.
But when you try to push through those feelings and just, because I'm an emotion stuffer. I have been an emotion stuffer since I was a kid. It was like, well, fine. You did that to me, fine. And I would just stuff it down, stuff it down, stuff it down, stuff it down, stuff it down. But it'll come back, but it does come back as an adult. And here's me at 71 dealing with things from when I was a kid of 8. But it's okay. And that's good. That's good.
You know, and the thing is, Barbara, what I love, just real quickly, is that we see there's two things. You can either just, go down that road of things coming back and kind of attacking what you're trying to do now and let it happen.
Yeah.
Or you can be honest with yourself and say, okay, I see this. I see it.
Right.
I'm owning this, and it's not going to affect me moving forward. And see, that's what you always do, which I love about what we always talk about is you have a choice. When the things start coming back and, saying, remember da-da-da-da, or you can't do this, or what you thinking you can do a show, and what all that, those gremlins in the back.
Yeah,
but see, it's up to us to make that decision to say, are we going to let that, make a decision for us? No.
Right. Because, we all have the voices in our heads.
Yeah.
We all have the voices in our heads. We have the the one on this end. You always see the little, the devil made me do it. But then you have, but then you have your, like, I call them the dreamers and doubter. Or your doubter, they're the ones, and we need both. Because sometimes your doubter can say, oh, Barb, really? Should you be doing this? Okay, let me rethink this. Absolutely. But also, under your subconscious is also the voice that is saying, really? You think you're worthy of doing that? You think you can do that? Don't listen to that voice. Don't listen to that voice. Because you have to be just, and that's where it comes in of sitting down and breathing. Because then the true voice, that's your intuition, will surface.
Yes, definitely. Now, before we go, because I want to make sure you do this, because you're always making me do this.
Yes.
We didn't even end. We just got into conversation because we're just so used to doing that.
We're so used to it.
Introduce yourself. Tell me what you do.
Okay. And but that is true, because we have known each other for so long, we automatically start talking. And we always say we're going to talk for 10 minutes, and then half an hour later, we're still on the phone. It's like, we've got to go. Absolutely. We got to go. Absolutely. Anyways, I'm Barbara Ellison, and I am your personality pro. Because personality absolutely drives reality. It impacts absolutely every aspect of life. Whether we are talking whether we are talking internally to ourselves, whether we're talking to somebody who's sitting across the table from us, or if we're talking to the person that's lying beside us at night, if we're in a relationship. And all of those things are affected by personality. So I'm technically a personality science trainer. But what I do is, and that's one of the things, know who you are within what you do. And that can be a subject that we can talk about too. Um, but what I do is I work with heart-centered entrepreneurs to help them tweak their messaging so that they can attract, that they can connect with, and that they can convert their ideal audience. Because people will hear your voice, the way you talk. But when you can adjust your voice a little bit to suit all the different personalities, and there's only four of them. That's the best part of this. Like there's like one of the things that I talk about is there's 7 billion people on the planet. And there's over 3,500 languages, but there's only four basic personality types. And that's across, and most people, especially people in business, have done some type of personality assessment. Like I've done DISC, I've done the color wheel, I've done the animals, the gems, the elements, the flowers, all of them out there. There's over 200 of them. And so we love to learn about ourselves. That's what one of the things that I loved about all of the assessments. I really learned a lot about myself, but it didn't help me to learn about the person sitting across from me. It didn't help me to deal better with my son or with my clients of how to talk to them. And like, can I tell a quick story on myself?
Sure.
It was before I was in sales and before even remotely heard of personality science, and I was doing a presentation, and it was for a wellness company, and I had a killer presentation. At least I thought I did. Had a killer presentation. Okay, so now keep in mind there's 4 personalities. I had one presentation. Do you think that was a limiting thing? Maybe. If you are in sales and you have one presentation, you might want to talk to me. Anyways, so I was doing this presentation and it was just going so well. The wife was sitting there. She was on the edge of her seat, so excited. She was just, all totally on board. The husband,
So much. Uh-oh. She said Barbara for a way, just sitting back.
do you think I made that sale? No, because the husband was in control. The wife wanted it. The husband said no. And I had absolutely no idea. And I literally watched my killer presentation go down the tubes in a handbasket in the space of 5 minutes.
Wow.
The wife wanted it. The husband said, absolutely no. We have to think about it. And at that moment, I had no idea how to bridge the gap between where I was and where he was. Ooh, if I was in that same position now, I know exactly what I would do. But I didn't back then. And that's where personality science comes in, because I was not giving him what he needed to hear from me of because people buy on emotion and on what they value. Then they justify it with logic. Absolutely. The wife was was totally on board with me because she was my personality style. She was the same as me. So we connected immediately. The husband, I now know, on looking back, was totally the opposite, and I was not connecting with him at all because I was trying to talk to him in a foreign voice, in a foreign language, and he wasn't understanding what I was saying because I was not giving him what he wanted to know about our opportunity.
Okay, yeah.
If that's happened to you, yeah. And that was such a hard experience for me. It was like, but then of course the sad part was I came out of that and went, what's wrong with me that I couldn't, what's wrong with me?
And that's the first thing we think of, Barbara.
Then we beat ourselves up. What's wrong with me? And one of the statistics that I now know is that 25 years ago, the Chally Group did did a survey of people, of why they buy. What makes people buy? And they determined that only 18% of people will buy from somebody that is not their personality match.
Okay.
Okay. The other 82% of people will buy from someone who is their personality match. And you know what we call that now? It's the know, like, and trust factor. People want to
Mm.
buy from someone that who they feel knows them, what that they've got their needs, that their needs are going to be met, and that they're going to trust that we're going to do what we say, what we're going to do with them, for them, in the way that they want to have it done for them, in
Mm.
their way, not in my way. I now have 4 presentations. I find out what their person, and then because then I address each one of the needs of the 4 personalities. And it has made such a difference.
Now, Barbara, I want to ask this.
Sure.
So, and just let everybody know, this is how you contact my wonderful friend here, my diamond.
Yeah.
Now, how about if, because I know you use, that's one of the tools, we're gonna say tools
Yeah.
that you use is
It's still
bank, is
right.
bank.
I use bank.
Now, if you don't know the person, like say for instance, like you say, you have 4 different presentations when you're
Hmm.
doing your
Hmm.
presentation. And how about if you don't really know your audience yet? Like say they're just coming in like for your workshop in a few weeks. You might not know some people that's coming in. How do you handle that?
Right. Okay. I ask them. I have a free free personality assessment, and I have
Now
them
do
do
you,
it before. I have them do it. Yeah, they're going to be doing it.
so do they do it right when
They
you
can either do it
start?
they can either do it ahead of time, or they can do it then. If they haven't done it, that's going to be
Hmm.
part of the funness of it, because
Hmm.
then as we're going to be going along through the workshop, you're going to be seeing what makes you you,
Hmm.
and you can pick out, and because we're one of all 4 of the codes, we have little bits of all of them. Like for me,
Hmm.
I'll introduce myself as my code. My code is NABK. The
Hmm.
N stands that I'm a nurturer. I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception.
And I
That's
love
my
that.
mission. That's
Hmm.
what I want, because people deserve to be happy. They
Hmm.
deserve to be healthy and to have abundance and to be financially free. They deserve that. So that's the nurturer in me. But then
Hmm.
my second code is my A, and we tend to be a little bit more outgoing, and we like a little bit of attention. That's where my bright red lipstick comes in, and I have you can't see them because I'm sitting down, but I have bright red toenails and those kinds of things, and I wear blingy earrings.
Hmm.
That's that outgoing part of me. But then the blueprint part of me is, that's the where I want the structure. I want to know about the step by steps that it's going to take to help me to, like right now I'm putting in place my blueprint part. I'm getting all my processes put together and all of those things. And I have coaches to help me do that. But then my knowledge part, and one of the things about my blueprint, I don't like being late.
Mm.
I don't like to be late. That's part of my blueprint part. And I tend to be a little frugal.
And you know
'Cause-
what? It's funny you say that, Bar, because you help me out all the time when it comes to our show on Tuesdays. Because
yeah,
you're on time. I love it. You're on time. And see, this is
yeah,
good when you have a co-host. And then I'm the opposite.
yeah,
Sometimes it might be 2, 3 minutes, sometimes
right.
10.
Oh,
And I'm
oh yeah,
working on that. It makes me work on that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, though, one of the things. Okay, let me finish, and then I'll come back to that. But the K part of me is I love gadgets. Because the K people, they're the ones that love data and they love science, and I love gadgets, and I love science fiction. And
Mhm.
they tend to be your engineers and things. And so that is so fun. But one of the things about our show that I love, and sometimes we'll be, she'll say, "Oh, I might be a couple of minutes late," and all of a sudden the show, we're live. Oh, okay, yeah, we're live. Hey, bye, hey, everybody, we're live. And that is and see, and I have, because of that part of that A part of me, I have no problem with doing that. Oh, we're live? Okay, we've been live for 2 or 3 seconds. Okay, bye everybody, and have no problem with that. But other people would be like, they
Yeah, they're like, is the
would be
live
like a
from this
deer in the
morning?
headlights. Yeah, what am I supposed to be doing? And so, yeah, and so when you can understand the values of each one of the codes, and that's what I teach people how to recognize the values that each one of the codes live by, that they're basics. I mean, there's 24 different combinations, and every one of us are unique, absolutely. But there's some basic guidelines. There's some basic guidelines. It's like learning to drive. Everybody drives differently. Like, let's talk about driving. Not everybody, when you're going down the expressway, is sitting with their hands at 10 and 2, and they're absolutely, you see the ones that are leaning out the window, the ones that are on their phone. My daughter-in-law came home the other day. She said, "You wouldn't believe I saw a lady shaving her legs going down the expressway."
What?
She was
What?
shaving her legs. Yes, she
That's
came home. She said
crazy.
she was shaving her legs. One of the funniest ones for me that I ever heard, a friend of mine, she said, "Barb, you would not believe what I saw on the Eisenhower today." And I said, "What?" She said, "A guy was playing the violin while he was driving with his knees."
What? What is going on? Are these like
I
the smart
laughed so
cars?
hard.
Like they're driving on
I
their
laughed.
own and they're just.
Yeah, no, this was
That's
a few years
crazy.
ago, long before smart cards. But but we're all driving. So, but we all do
Mhm.
it differently. And so that's what with the personalities.
Wow.
But there are some basic things that you can recognize them, because each personality has its own clues. And when you can learn some of the clues of what they like, what they don't like, sometimes you have to know what they don't like. Like the
Wow.
K people, they don't like drama. Oh, and
Well,
the
you know what is
nurturers,
funny?
you know,
I'm not because I got the personality bug too because I mean I met you and then Laura Armstrong who's coming right behind us. She does the same thing you do with the bank, and she was
yeah,
teaching some things during the week, and I
yeah,
was I was I was like I hate drama. I don't like
right,
drama.
that, right,
I don't.
and that's
And
the
now I
K part of
understand
you.
why through finding my code. Now I said okay, now I understand why I don't
That's
like
the
no
K
drama.
part of you. You don't like drama.
But it's funny because drama always comes my way in my life. It's like, okay, I don't like it, but it comes. Then I had to ask myself, Barbara, okay, am I
Right.
bringing drama? I mean, am I
Yeah.
not just, am I really? I said, okay, if I don't like it, why does it keep resonating in my life? So I
Mhm.
had to ask myself, okay, am I doing this?
What
But
right, because we get what we focus on. But
yeah,
sometimes that's just part of your but sometimes you have to also realize that it's just part of your code. And you
yeah.
accept it, and it's like, "Oh well, that's part of my code."
And don't beat yourself up. Like you said,
And
going back to that. Going back to
don't
that.
beat yourself up for it. That's part of my code. That's why I do that. Okay, like one of the things, nurturers, once in a while we've been known to be slightly unorganized. And I will clean up my desk, and I say to myself, I'm going to blueprint my desk. I'm going to be so organized because blueprints are very organized. I'm going to blueprint my desk. I'm going to be very organized. I wouldn't want to show you my desk right now
Or you
because
said
it's
that
not.
like
I wouldn't want
well,
to show you
Barb.
my desk right now.
Well, Barbara, you know what? We're gonna have to do like a session two with this. We have to bring you back on because of
Yeah,
time. Oh my God, I can't
yeah.
believe it went so quick.
It's
So, I mean, really, tell everybody before we sign off how to contact you.
the best way is to just take my free assessment. And it's a bit.ly link. It's bit.ly/personality pro 2, and the both P's in the personality pro are capitalized. Otherwise, you can reach out to me and on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, Barbara Lunan Ellison, and that's a funny story too of my name. But just
That's
yeah,
okay.
so out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if
Okay.
you need
Well,
to, ask Barb to get in touch with me. We talk to each
since
other all the time.
yeah, and we
That,
have another
that's
show
what
together
friends
on
are
Tuesday.
for.
True good time.
Yes.
Thank you so much, lady. You are just a
Oh,
gem, and I'm
it's
serious.
fun. Thanks
We
for
need to
having me.
continue this conversation
We'll
because
have to have another
I love
conversation.
how we always discuss. I always love our
Yeah.
discussions of what we do.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, and like I said, show that love. Like I started earlier, show the love.
Show the
Show the
love.
love.
Exactly. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's really slowing it down, isn't it? I was back there like, oh my God, my wonderful, wonderful friend Barbara. I mean, we see. I told you, we just go in and start, conversating, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love about this show. Some people be like, "Oh, Barbara, can I get interviewed on your show?" I'm just talking about, people beside the, Barbara. I've been knowing for a long time, but just people I meet, and I'm like, "Yeah, come on," but I want to let you know something. I always tell them, this is a conversation. This is not me asking you questions and you answer. Then I ask another question, then you answer. It's a conversation, and through that conversation we get to know your personality. We get to know who you are. People get to know who you are. And guess what? That builds relationship. And then when you build relationship, guess what? That might bring your potential clients to you because they know how you are. So that's why I always have the conversation. It works hand in hand there. So you see the wonderful awesomeness that Barbara has. And reach out to her. Reach out to her. She she just has so many different tools. And she'll be teaching you something. You'll be like, just like the minute with the presentation thing. I'm like, wow. It was funny when she was talking, I was sitting here taking notes. I take notes. And I was jotting down. I said, oh, that's good. 4 presentations for the different personalities. Oh, yeah. Start off with it. Yeah. Hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to learn and grow with each other. Now we about to get to some. Yes, here we go. We have Miss Laura, the Queen Diamond. Every Thursday she comes on, talks about leadership and communication. She is a guru. She is an expert. I can say so many other things, but then I'll be taking up some more of her time, and I don't want to do that. I want to bring her right on because I know she has some wonderful tips, and she's going to drop some golden nuggets for us. You know what? I'm going to say diamond nuggets since this diamond show. I can say that, and she's going to give us some things to really think about. So you know what? Get your pen, get your piece of paper, start taking notes. I know that sounds like she telling me what to do. Yeah, I'm telling you what to do. Pen and paper. Get used to it. Let's hear from this expert. Here she comes.
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Laura Armstrong here. I'm excited to be here today because today we're going to be talking about different leadership styles. So what I want to talk about is, firstly, is choosing a leadership style. And then I'm going to go through a bit of the different leadership styles. So know that you as a person are always growing and developing, and that's really important. So you want to work in the leadership style that works best for you, and that's really part of being a good leader. Developing your signature style, which is what you're going to do the longer you do this, and the ability to stretch into the other styles as the situation warrants may help enhance your leadership effectiveness. And that's really what we want to be doing when we're leaders, right? We want to be effective. We want to help people create the change they're looking for and make sure that they're growing as we're doing that. Okay, so the first tip I'm going to give you on choosing your leadership style is know yourself. So start by raising your awareness of your dominant leadership style. How do you lead, right? You can do this by asking your trusted colleagues or your peers. They're going to give you the information because they know you best and be willing to hear it no matter what it looks like, right? Because a lot of the time, they're not going to be wanting to please you. They're going to be wanting to be absolutely honest so that you can take that feedback and grow from there. Okay, so you can also take leadership style assessments that they have out there. I use an assessment like they were just talking about that will show you what your personality type is like and what kind of leader you are. So that will definitely contribute to that. Number 2 is understanding the different styles. Okay, and we're going to go over a few of those today. So get familiar with the repertoire of leadership styles that can work best in any given situation, because you may need to switch it up, at the last minute. And what new skills do you need to develop to embrace some of those other ones that may not feel normal to you or, your wheelhouse, right? And I can tell you that if you step into something that doesn't feel good to you or that is out of your norm, this is where you're going to have growth. And this is why learning those different personality types is so key, so that not only are you adaptable, but you will up your communication, your understanding of how you lead and how others become leaders as well. The third one is practice makes a leader, right? So you actually have to do it. So be genuine with any approach you use, because especially now today more than ever, no matter what your personality code is, we are all looking to be a little bit more nurturing in the world, right? It's just what we need as human beings right now. And it's not a comfortable behavior for some of us, but it's where we are. So just, be aware of that. Moving from a dominant leadership style to a different one may be challenging at first, which is what I just said. So practice the new behaviors, right? Get comfortable with being uncomfortable until it becomes more natural. And I can promise you, the more you do it, the more natural it's going to start to feel for you. Okay. In other words, don't use a different leadership style as like, okay, today we're doing it this way. Just embrace it, learn it, and be part of it. And then, decide how much you want to take into the new you when you're forming your leadership style. Okay. People can spell fake leadership from a mile away. And I'm just telling you, authenticity rules, because that's why they want to follow you, because of who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And not only that, but how you do it. So there's something about you that leads in a special way that they want a little bit of, right? And they want to take some of that with them. And that's what you want to give them, right? When I used to go and train at different seminars, and, I go, most weekends I go train at another martial arts seminar. And I'd come home to our home dojo, and my teacher at the time, this is many, many years ago, would say, well, what'd you learn? And, if I remembered 10% of what we learned, that was good, right? And so, because those were the things that stuck with me and that I needed in my practice to evolve it to the next level. So it's the same thing in business and when you're leading, okay? The number 4 thing, and I only did 4 things about choosing your leadership style, is developing your leadership agility, right? So traditional leadership styles are still relevant today in the workplace or, as an entrepreneur, but they may need to be combined with new approaches, right? In line with how leadership is defined nowadays. And trust me, it's a constantly evolving thing. So today's business environments and as an entrepreneur are fraught with challenges due to the changing demographics, the diverse type of people who are out there doing different things, what they're needing from their business. The new breed of leader, and I don't really like that word breed, the new type of leader is able to switch leadership styles and be adaptive, okay? And as the Chinese proverb goes, the wise adopt themselves to circumstance as water molds itself to the pitcher. Okay, and pitcher as in pouring water into a pitcher. Agile leadership style may be the ultimate leadership style required for leading in today's world, right? And I think that leadership is a huge subject. And so finding your style, your leadership style, can be really key to you actually, stepping into who you are and acknowledging that, right? So let's go through the different leadership styles. So leadership has a tremendous impact on the world and on your business, how you do business, how the people that you associate, the way you lead people is as important as the quality of what you offer. Okay, no question. Leadership can be defined as a way to lead others, but it's so much more than that, right? A true leader inspires people, recognizes their diversity and their potential, and shows them how to develop their skills. My goal as a leader is to have the people that I work with in leadership, creating leaders, move past me. Okay, then I've really done my job properly. And I know that what I'm doing is on track, because if people can actually take all the knowledge that I give them, amalgamate in what they're learning separately, or, that they've gone out and additionally learned to that and move past me, then I've done the right thing. I've done my job properly. Right? Because the next generation of leaders is always better than us. We're always striving to be better. We're always wanting them to be better. And that's what true leadership is about, in my point of view. Okay. So to help you understand which type of leadership suits you best, I'm going to go over a few of the different ones. Some may resonate with you, some may not. Pay attention to the ones that don't and ask yourself why. Okay, because it might just be a little bit uncomfortable for you and not something that your belief system believes in, but it might be something you also want to take a look at that could serve you in certain situations, when you are leading. So the first one is autocratic, the autocratic style. So this is the first type of leadership that was actually established. It was very successful in events where people needed one person to be their leader and guide them. So the modern form of this leadership is centered on the boss instead of the king or the warrior in old days, right? And you kind of get what I'm saying here. The leader has the highest level of authority and responsibility, okay? And they make all the decisions. So in autocratic leadership, sorry, I'm just missing my notes here. In autocratic leadership, leaders will make decisions without having to consult anybody. And so this, this has its place, but it's shifted so much in the last, not even just in the last decades, in the last centuries, right? So it's not so much prevalent in the world today. So basically, in this style, after, the decision had been made, they'll communicate it to others to implement. And, this style of leadership usually provides little or no flexibility for employees. So you could see why it's not so popular these days, though it is a style that's still used. And I used to work in a company where, that was the way it was, right? And so that still exists to this day. So this command and control approach is typical of leadership styles of the past, but it doesn't hold, much water, like I said, with today's talent. For example, when I'm teaching and I have students who I know they need to do something which is outside of their norm, and they're giving me pushback about it, right? And sometimes, like, it happens once in a while, and they're like, well, why do we have to do this? Because they would question things, which is fine. But sometimes I'd have to just step up and be the leader and say, because I said so. Okay. And that's not who I am as a leader. So to shift into that leadership style was very uncomfortable for me. And, and so they knew when they heard that, they're like, oh, I better do that. Right. Maybe I did push a little too far. But what would happen is they would go do what I told them, and they'd come back to me, not right away, but whatever it was, they would have that transformation. They'd be like, now I understand. And a good example of that is, when I would train when I was younger, and I would do these things in the dojo, and I'd be, doing this or that. And my teacher would say, don't do this. I don't want you doing that. Or we're going to do it this way. I would be that person who would rebel. And I never understood why she did those things until I became a teacher and had to lead. Right. So sometimes we don't get to have that foresight. You just have to step in, and you have to trust the people that are leading you. Okay, so in that case, yes, I would say an autocratic style can work. When you're dealing with inexperienced or new team members, there's no time sometimes to wait for them to gain familiarity with their role. So you're going to have to give them directives that they just have to follow. And then, hopefully that education comes later on where they're able to, assimilate into the team, and then the style shifts. Okay. So that gives you like a little bit about that. Okay. So the next one that I really like is the democratic leadership style. So this leadership style allows team members to be involved in the decision-making process. So democratic leadership is centered around the contributions of others. This, I would say, is one of the most common ones that are out there. A democratic leader will hold the final responsibility. Okay, so we've all come to this decision. This is the decision, so you go ahead and you let them know. But they'll also delegate authority to the employees or the people that you're working with to continue working on projects. So it's a great way to get everybody involved, but everybody has their own little pod of what they're doing, and they're still manifesting and growing their leadership skills through that. So with democratic leadership, communication is going both upward and downward. It's not just, hey, I told you to do this, you do this. There's feedback there and collaboration, right? So this helps with productivity and motivation, and actually will bring you better results when a lot of the people are feeling engaged, right? Democratic leaders are more likely to ask, what do you think? Right? They're more likely to ask for feedback and get involved. They share information with you about anything that, they have to do, right? Because they want you to engage. They also seek your opinions. So there's a lot of introspection there as a leader in the democratic style before approving a final decision. It doesn't mean what you're saying is going to influence them, but having all those opinions gives them more food for thought to make the right decision around what they want, what they need to do. So this kind of style also engenders trust, promotes team spirit, and it helps with cooperation. It allows for people to be more creative, and so they're not feeling like they're stifled, right? And allows them to grow and develop. And that's really what you want in your leaders. And as a leader, you need to be enough space for that so that you're not feeling like there's competition. If they don't do it your way, it's the highway, or that, you need to control everything going on. So a democratic leadership style gets people to do what you want to be done, but in a way that they want to do it, right? So it's almost like, I thought of that, right? Like give them, give them the thought that, they're the ones who thought of it, not you. So you want to lead them down the garden path to that, is what I'm kind of saying here. And the last thing I want to say about democratic leadership, because I think this is a really important style, it helps to be, when you're a democratic leader, you want to be creating a team culture where individuals feel valued and important, okay? And provide an open environment that prompts discourse through the exchange of ideas. Okay, and that helps those participating in this leadership style to keep team members feeling engaged and motivated. Because if your team is not motivated, nothing's happening, right? And they're going to step back from it, right? So, keep everybody around the campfire in this style, right? Because that's where they all want to be, no matter what level they're participating at. Okay, and basically, you want to develop a culture of voluntary contribution here. Okay, that's what's super key. I'm just making sure that I'm covering all my points on everything. So that's kind of cool. Okay, great. So the next one that I had here was servant leadership, right? Which I think has become more popular over the last few decades. So servant leadership is leading with a servant's heart. So in essence, this type of leader focuses primarily on addressing the needs of others. So one thing about this is you don't want to go down into that hole where you're giving, and never receiving, right? That can be a bit of a trap here as a leader, right? And that's going to not only have you lose face with the people that are following you, but actually make them feel like your leadership skills aren't where they need to be. Okay, and that's not what you want to do here, right? So when serving teams, you want to have a heavy emphasis on growth and learning. And so for this reason, you want to be nurturing them. Okay, but you also want to be challenging them to achieve their full potential. And that's where the leadership part of the servant leadership comes in, right? Being a servant leader goes far beyond oneself, right? So you can go out and do tons of things and give, but when you're in a leadership position in this, it's a little bit different. The goal is to multiply, more leaders at every level, right? So that's what you're doing here. Okay, so organizations, or businesses operated by servant leaders ensure those joining in are fulfilling the business endeavors like they're aligning with the values of the business, okay, and the company's core values, or the group's core values, whatever it is. So owners must demonstrate humility, passion for service, compassion, genuineness. All of these things are really, super key to stepping into servant leadership. And I really feel like it's an important one, important enough that we have a conversation around it. Okay. So the next one that I want to cover is, let me see here. I've got a few good ones. The coaching style, right? So of leadership. When you have a coaching leadership style, you tend to have a consider this approach. Right? So a leader who coaches views people as a reservoir of talent to be developed. The leader who uses a coach to approach seeks to unlock people's potentials. Okay. So for me, I have a different point of view about coaching style in leadership. I don't babysit people in the sense that I don't think that's a bad thing, but I don't make them accountable for things. I will give them directives and answer the questions and partner with them as they go through. But if they don't want to do the work, I'm not going to be there to push them. They have to want it enough, right? And I really feel as leaders, sometimes we can fall into that trap of, why didn't you get it done? I think accountability coaches are great for that, but it's not what I do. And it's not the style of leadership I consider in coaching leadership. Because if you're leading from a coaching perspective, the person has to want to be in leadership or develop the skills to get there. So leaders who use a coaching style system or a coaching style in their leadership open their hearts and doors for people. And this is what I'm talking about. They believe that everyone has the power within themselves, and a coaching leader gives people a little direction to help them tap into their ability to achieve all that they're capable of. But I'm telling you, you can see someone's potential, but if they aren't willing to develop and see it themselves, it's going nowhere, right? So just keep in mind that you don't want to be banging your head against the wall about this. You want to be making sure that what you're doing is making a difference, but people want to have that difference, okay? So the next one I want to talk about is transformational leadership, which I love, okay? I love them all. So leaders using the transformational leadership style inspire people through their clear vision. Okay, so they're super clear about what they're doing. So they tend to excel in effective communication. What do we usually talk about, right? We talk about communication and focus on instilling purpose, not just in the people that they're trying to lead, but those people that they're dealing with, okay? Their customers, their clients, whatever it is, right? So through the words they speak and the examples they set, so basically they're walking the walk and they're talking the talk, they motivate their team towards being change makers. I like to think of myself as the catalyst for change, and I'm willing to push people into that, even though it's uncomfortable for them. That may garner me a little bit of that negative, well, I don't like that. Well, I think you're this and that. But I just have an interesting point of view about that because I know that's people's self-growth. And I never take that personally because it's not really about me, right? And if I'm not a good fit for someone that way, it doesn't mean I'm not compassionate, caring, or empathetic. But it may just mean that they need someone to speak to them a little bit differently than I do because we're all so unique in our individual styles. We have to decide, how we want to be. I don't accede to what everybody wants, but I do my best to accommodate as much as I can because I know that everyone is on a little bit of a different level here. Okay. Most of all, transformational leadership are purpose-driven individuals. I am so purpose-driven. So this really resonates with me, this style, and I'm in it a lot of the time. Who believe in maximizing the outcomes in other people's lives. I am all about creating dynamic change for you in your life as a leader. Okay. And because transformational leaders understand they cannot achieve their mission without the people they work with, they're also experts at developing team cultures. Okay. And that is something that I love, right? To see something come together. Even when I was coaching the Canadian team, by the time we were ready to go to the World Championships, they were a unit, right? They were a unit. Okay. So, transformational leaders help customers and employees or people that you work with make positive shifts in their lives, no matter what that looks like. So that can be just a very, personal thing about, how things shift for you. It's just very different, right? And the last thing I want to say about transformational leadership. So it's basically a transformational leader sets challenges in front of their team and expects them to solve them successfully with the help of the leader. So it's very collaborative, okay? And they're involved in the people that they work with. And people who want to especially build their careers, build their, visibility, their impact, their success, right? They don't want a boss or a person or a leader they're working with who doesn't believe in them or empower them. Okay, they have to feel empowered by this person. And that's why it's so key, if you're going to be a transformational leader, that you embody these kind of ideals. Okay, I'll just do a couple more here that are really popular. The one that I really thought was cool was the laissez-faire style. So laissez-faire style leadership, and I'm not going to be able to get through all of them today, so that's okay, is actually the opposite end of the autocratic style that I talked about. Of all the leadership styles, this one involves the least amount of oversight. So you could say that the autocratic style leader stands in, as firm as a rock on issues, while the laissez-faire leader lets people swim with the current. Well, let's see where it goes, right? On the surface, this leader may appear to trust people to know what to do, but taken to the extreme, the uninvolved leader may end up appearing aloof. And what are they leading at that point is the question you need to ask. So while it's beneficial to give people opportunities to spread their wings, with a total lack of direction, people may unwittingly drift in the wrong direction, away from the critical goals of what they're looking to get done. This style, however, can work if you're leading highly skilled, experienced people who are self-starters and motivated, right? But those people, I have to be honest, are rare. So to be most effective with this style, you have to monitor and provide a lot of feedback. And there is a lot of the babysitting type ideal here that's going on. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you're talking about that. Okay. So what else do I want to? The last one I want to talk about here is. Let's talk about transactional leadership. This is going to be our last one for today. So transactional leadership, okay, is a results-driven approach, okay, that follows a distinct organizational hierarchy, okay? So for example, this type of leader views their relationship with their people they work with as an exchange, right? Additionally, those practicing this leadership style create clear measures for success and failure. So if you do this, you will succeed. If you do this, you will fail. If individuals achieve the goals set by the leader, they're rewarded for their hard work. So there's acknowledgement there. But if they fail, they're held accountable for why, okay? If they're not meeting their mark or their goal. So out of all the leadership styles, transactional leadership is most favorable within probably more of a large scale company, and not so much in an entrepreneurial space, because the progress has to be measurable. Okay. Okay. It might sound a little basic, but it takes a lot of determination for transactional leadership to succeed. So from being clear and focused on expectations you give to your team, providing quality feedback, like that was great, we didn't succeed because of this, so what can we do to make it better next time? A transactional leader needs to be involved in all of the process, right? You need to have your fingers in in pretty much everything to actually make it effective. So you have to decide, how much am I willing to put into that, right? So I think that that's a good question to ask yourself, when you're working in transactional leadership. So that's a little bit about different leadership styles. There are more of them. Like I said, I didn't have time to cover them all today. But every one of them will be perfect with you. And I am a combination for myself of several different leadership styles. And that is what works for me. So in the end, it's really, what does your leadership style look like? And what does it look like for you, right? You are unique. There is only one of you, right? So create that. Go out and try them out. Be uncomfortable. Take what you need and bring it into what you're already doing. And this is what's going to give you the uniqueness of what your leadership looks like and why people will follow you. And that is going to make you unstoppable. All right, so that's it for today. So join me next week, and we are going to be talking about old and new habits. It's going to be a great session because there's a lot going on there. All right, I am Leadership. My name is Laura Armstrong. My company is Leadership with Laura. You can contact me at laura@leadershipwithlaura.com. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, I'd love to hear them because I love people and I love connecting with you. I will see you next week. Have a great one and talk to you soon. Bye for now.
What do I always say? It happens every Thursday. The magic happens, and Laura brings it. She brings it. I was listening to her about the different characteristics about different leaders, and I was like, okay, which one am I? Which one am I? And I was like, am I the authoritative one? I'm like, And then I was thinking about that dictatorship stuff. I'm like, I don't think I do that. And then something back in my mind, a long time ago, somebody told me, I was telling somebody, well, you just need to do this. They said, well, why you like a dictator? But I'm like, what? I mean, it was just like a slap in the face, like, because I never, ever, 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 ever want to be that type of leader where I'm just, like, and that just hit me. See, sometimes the people that you're helping and working around, they will remind you of what you don't want to be. And they did that a long time ago. I was like, whoa, no, I gotta stop the train, stop it. I mean, it literally bothered me. And see, that's what a true leader is. When you can get checked, and she checked me, she really did. And then you can stand back and say, wait a minute, that's not the type of leader I want to be. I'm so glad that that came out because I don't want to continue down that road. And I didn't. So I look at myself, and this is, I got to ask people that, that we have a team together with, because we have a team here on a Diamond Factor Experience. And, I'm the producer of the show. I mean, I'm over the show. I know I hate to say it because I always look at it as a team. When you start saying, well, yeah, I'm over, and it's like, I don't want to leave anybody out. But, technically that's what it is. But hopefully I'm a transformational leader. I mean, that's something that I really like to inspire to keep doing. If hopefully I'm doing it, and if I'm not, I need to get on it. So see, this is what I'm talking about, where Laura makes you think and make you really just dig into your leadership and your communication and understand who you really are in that area. Because as I always tell people, you don't have to be over like people. You're a leader of your own because you're a leader in your life. Think about it. We're all leaders because you're a leader in your life. You have to lead yourself in every direction every day as soon as you wake up. Soon as you wake up, you have to ask yourself, okay, what am I supposed to do today? Is this the right direction? Should I go, or should I go that direction? If I make this decision, will that be a good decision? Will that transfer me into something that I'm doing for my life, for my business? See, that's leading. You are leading yourself through life. So yes, you are a leader. When people say, "Well, I'm not a leader," yes, you are. If you're not a leader over a company or a team or a project or what have you, you're a leader over yourself. So yes, and then with that, with leaders, I always say that you need to inspire. You have to inspire. yourself and you have to inspire others. That's the big, like the cherry on top of the whole thing. It's not so much that, we're all together and I'm, kind of the leader of this and every leader of the pack or whatever. It's the part where you have to make sure that you are inspiring people to do their best to get to that next level. That's what it's all about. That's it to me. That's really like the grunt of it when you talk about a leader is just making sure, because I always tell people if you go surpass me, I'm sitting there cheerleading. I'm like, yay, doing a happy dance and everything, because that's what I want you to get to. I don't want you staying stagnant. That's now if you're on the leader and they just keep you staying stagnant under that same, that's manipulation and control. And that is not what a leader should be. You should be moving people forward. I always tell people, I'll get in the ditch before they do. You know what? We got to dig this ditch. Hey, we're all digging. Let me get my shovel and say, let me get two. In fact, I'm going to stay overnight and do this because I want to make sure that you're elevating. So if I have to sit there and get down and dirty with some things in order to make it happen, then that's what a leader does. That's a true leader. And that's a like she said, I can't wait. Transformational leader. Because you're showing what a leader is to somebody else, and that inspires them to do what they need to do. So with that said, that said, everybody, and Barbara Ellis, I want to thank you again for coming on the show finally. We have our show, Time to Shine, Happiness Show on Tuesday mornings at 9 o'clock. So it's right behind my show. In fact, we had to move it. Thank you, Barbara, because we had to move our show. Our show used to be at 8 o'clock, 8:30 to 9 o'clock. But then I was like, Barbara, I'm going on Fridays out the week to the Diamond Factor Experience Show. Can we move ours to 9 o'clock? And she's like, oh yeah, okay, no problem. So she's just a doll. She's just a doll, and she's just such an inspiration. So with that, I want to leave off back. I want to go back to the love. Let me do the love thing real quick, and then we're going to sign off. Pure love is genuine and does not contain ifs or buts. It's simply love. Pure love requires nothing in return. True love is felt needing to receive nothing and wanting nothing from another. Pure love is when you simply love with no motivations, no judgments, and no assumptions on what will be. Okay? People who require another to do certain things, say certain things, and become a certain type of person. And those people are, I don't like that word, manipulators. That is not love. That is not love. I'm getting close. It is control. You shouldn't be controlling anybody. True love is unconditional, require no ifs, no buts. Today, become loving, requiring nothing in return. No ifs, no buts. I love you just. I love you just. So saying that, I love you all just because you're you. And that sounds like a song, doesn't it? Just because you're you, just because you come and be a part of the show, be it if you're on the show as a guest, on the show as an expert, or just looking at me right now through the TV streaming and the YouTubes and the Facebooks and everything. I just want to say how much I love you and I appreciate you so much. But the biggest thing I want you to remember, as I always try to say, you need to love yourself first. Love your gifts, love your talents, love who you are, because that makes that foundation in your life to create what I always call, and I get happy, your PPD, your purpose, your passion, and your drive in your life that motivates you to move forward and move mountains in the world. And don't let anyone, I'm talking about anyone, and that's including yourself, to stop you from doing that, because this world needs you. It just doesn't need you within yourself to grow with those gifts and talents, but it needs you to help other people grow so we can all come together and lift each other up and get to the next level of what we're trying to do. So with that, show the love today, show the love, and we'll be back tomorrow. I'm going into my Diamond Factor Spotlight Vault tomorrow and going to play you some wonderful interviews that I have done with some awesome, amazing women. So come on tomorrow and you'll see them shining and get to learn and get to know them. With that, we'll see you and have a lovely day, lovely day, lovely day.